thank you to the gyms. I appreciate you laying the foundation and setting us up for smart manufacturing, what's to come. And with that, I would like to introduce Simon Jacobson, the Vice President of Supply Chain Operations with Gartner, and also CESMII board member, who will lead us through our next series of sessions on the globalization efforts for smart manufacturing. Simon?
Microphone. All right, now we're on. No one's ever told me I've had to speak up. First of all, thank you for coming. The next hour and a half is going to be really compelling because I want to build off something from the opening remarks about connectivity and ecosystems and, quite frankly, the concept of digital. If we think about the rise of open data ecosystems as well as industry cloud platforms, we've realized digital is no longer a to-do. It's ingrained in the way that we do businesses. And when we think about doing businesses, it's ingrained in the way that you collaborate internally and with your suppliers. This means that technology and business can't be separate strategy discussions. They have to come together. And in the next hour and a half, I want you to think about that linkage and how it works within your organization and with your partners, because we're going to be talking about both how this works in the private and public sector. And you're going to learn about new opportunities for your company and for industry as a whole as we look towards that next level of smart manufacturing. And to start us off, I would like to welcome Dr. Diana Bauer from the Department of Energy. Dr. Bauer is the Deputy Director of the Advanced Materials and Manufacturing Technologies Office. And like Dr. Bauer, there you are, perfect. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. So let's see, I have the clicker? Okay, so thank you, Simon, and thank you, CESMII and SME for setting up this session. I think it's very timely. I think smart manufacturing is really important for the future manufacturing enterprise in the US and globally. It's my pleasure to be here representing DOE, as well as my own office, the Advanced Materials and Manufacturing Technologies Office. So AMTO, our office, is, I like to think of it as the intersection between transforming energy and transforming manufacturing. So really thinking about the future, and you know, I think the global agenda for decarbonization economy-wide is really both a challenge and an opportunity for manufacturing. And so our office is very focused on future manufacturing technologies that enable future energy technologies. So I think smart manufacturing is really critical for this agenda. Also, people are really important. You know, when we talk about digitization, it often links to automation, which then is maybe we're shifting the jobs of people. And I think we need to think about educating and developing the workforce in order to enable people to have really good jobs. Also, to build the manufacturing enterprise of the future to be able to deliver all these technologies that we need for the future of energy, we need innovation ecosystems. We need interconnections among industry, among universities, across supply chains, and smart manufacturing can help with that as well. Finally, diversity, equity, and inclusion and accessibility are also very important. We can't build the future of manufacturing without really tapping the broad range of folks that we have available in the population. So this is kind of the domains of AMTO, my office, the point I want to make here is that organizationally, smart manufacturing, cybersecurity, so that's CESMII and also CESMII, our Cybersecurity Manufacturing USA Institute, they're both embedded in that bottom corner down on the left, digital manufacturing. But as we're thinking about the future of manufacturing, we are trying to embed smart manufacturing across the full domain of the office, from high-performance materials to recycling processes through the circular economy to future battery manufacturing. So we're trying to make sure that we're also thinking about applications of smart manufacturing in emerging manufacturing technologies, including new equipment, new materials, new processes. So, we are doubling down on digitization and smart manufacturing across AMTO's portfolio and also across much of the government. About a year ago, the White House issued a national strategy for advanced manufacturing. Within that, there's a goal to develop and implement advanced manufacturing technologies. And one of those objectives under that goal is lead the future of smart manufacturing. So you see, it's embedded at the highest levels of government. And this goal, this objective has a collection of sub-objectives ranging from, digitization of processes to modeling, AI modeling of manufacturing systems to cybersecurity. Our office is also supporting a National Academy's Smart Manufacturing study. This study had, we had a number of workshops over the course of the last year focusing on state-of-the-art, workforce development, also smart manufacturing's role in creating a competitive manufacturing sector. And so in coming weeks, there'll be a report issued on the National Plan for Smart Manufacturing, so look out for that. The DOE State Manufacturing Leadership Program, run by our sister office, MESC, is just very recently issued $22 million in federal funding for state implementation of smart manufacturing for small and medium-sized businesses. Now, small and medium-sized businesses are really, really important. And I think enabling their capabilities in smart manufacturing will level the playing field for competitiveness for them, and then also, enable more integrated supply chains and sort of build capacity across the economy. So it's really important to enable small and medium-sized businesses to participate in the smart manufacturing scene. I'm also proud to say that several of these projects have components of CESMII embedded within them. So the investments that AMO and now AMTO have made in CESMII are now getting deployed, informing the on-the-ground implementation of smart manufacturing across the country. So as we in AMTO are thinking about smart manufacturing, we're actually, I didn't mention this at the start, but we're a fairly new office. We've been around for a year. We formed from the Advanced Manufacturing Office. We were a spin-off. And so we're still sort of trying to figure out our path forward. And as we're doing that, as I mentioned at the top, we're trying to embed smart manufacturing throughout our portfolio. So we have some foundational elements. for example, the Smart Manufacturing Innovation Platform and Smart Manufacturing Edge from CESMII. We also, value interoperability standards to help the small and medium-sized businesses participate in, connect in with the smart supply chain and level the playing field there. And then also it helps with international, transparency across international supply chains. We also have some work on high-performance computing models, advanced models for manufacturing processes, and finally, cybersecurity, namely the Cyber Security Institute, CESMII, that we support. And so we're thinking about these as sort of foundational elements to inform our smart manufacturing agenda. But we also want to think about places to apply smart manufacturing as we're developing new technologies, new manufacturing equipment, new systems. So for example, next generation battery manufacturing, also circular economy, including recycling systems, reverse logistics systems for recycling, as well as other applications. So these applications can then also inform innovation or advances in the foundational tools. So we're looking to create kind of a cycle of feedback between the foundation and the application. So I'm going to close. As we've been talking about sharpening our strategy for the future of American manufacturing for this new office. As we're working on this, we'll definitely rely on smart manufacturing as a foundation. And I look forward to input from all of you. I've really enjoyed the conversations I've had so far at the meeting, and I'm very eager to hear any input anyone has. Please, find me and offer your suggestions, ask your questions when you see me in the halls here. Thanks.
Thank you very much. I want to thank Dr. Bauer for her statement. Some interesting things I took out of that, including that we're doubling down on smart manufacturing. And while I'm not a gambler, depending, I like to hear doubling down, but also the focus that's going to come on supply chains and national academies. I think that's really interesting stuff, and I can't wait to see more. Our next speaker, we're going to hear from the other end of the equation, so to speak. I'd like to now welcome Dr. Marcus Hess. Mr. Hess is the Deputy Director General for Industrial Policy within the Federal Ministry of Economic Affairs and Climate Action for Germany. Mr. Hess, thank you for coming all this way, and the stage is yours.
Good morning, everybody. Yeah, it's a pleasure. It's a pure fun to be here today. I've prepared a long speech of 45 pages in letter size of 8, so be prepared for something difficult to come. No, I make it short. I think manufacturing is high on the agenda, as we've seen some seconds ago in the US, and as you can trust me if you want, it's high on the agenda in Germany as well. But the manufacturing in itself is subject to a change that is unprecedented. Because automizing processes, finding new renewable energies or sustainable products or sustainable processes is one thing, but in the future, manufacturing will depend mainly on data gaining, data processing, and data as the core business model of future manufacturing. And this is why we strongly support and look forward to today's exchange on everything that is discussed here. And I went through the convention hall and I saw all those brimming, buzzing booths, people talking, exchanging on their products and on the processes they apply. But trust me, all those future manufacturing issues will depend highly on a globally applied exchange of data, access to data, trustworthiness as a basis for doing businesses. And to this end, we've, from the federal government, this is a warning now, the advertising block for public funding, thought it might be a good idea to support in the beginning solely German industry, to focus a little bit more on data businesses coming from machinery data or other data available on the ground. So we, some years ago, founded a platform called Industrie 4.0. The platform brought together all partners from industry. I'm only from the government, I'm no expert. And they found out how to have a kind of building block approach to bring forward industrial manufacturing. That is the one thing we had. The second thing is that over time, we thought it might be worthwhile to look into the supply chains, the value chains. Is there data available, or is there data possible to gain for, in the end, profit? And there is. And then the pandemic came. We had a situation where all logistics all broke down. Companies were not able to produce any longer, and they had to rebuild their supply chains, they had to rebuild their logistics, and one lessons learned from that was if there was or had been a data-based model in place before, it would have all been a little bit easier to reshape the industry to today's performance. Tomorrow's performance depends on data, and that is what it's a leading industry for Germany. Was our first idea to apply in the automotive industry. So Catena X, you've heard a lot about Catena X yesterday, so I can be short on that, is a lighthouse project, and we take great pride in supporting that, but it's for the sector. And we think from the government, at least, it is worthwhile because the pandemic has shown everyone is affected to roll out the idea of Catena X based on Gaia X, an open source approach to all sectors of industry. So International Manufacturing X was born. That is something that will be presented to you today or in the fora that take place around the convention. And we have a playbook already in place that shows a little bit how we think the design of an internationally, globally structured process would look like. And to this end, we thought it might be a good idea to have an exchange with you because the opportunities here in the US are tremendous, amazing, and thank you for your attention.
Stage for the panel. Okay. All right. Well, first of all, Mr. Hess will be rejoining us, and we have some panelists coming on stage. But I do want to say I did enjoy your comment very much about tomorrow's performance is about data. I can only agree with that. And right now, we're going to welcome I feel like we're doing the dating game here. And I get to play the role of Wink Martindale. But welcome. We have a unique group of assembled experts from both Germany and the United States. And what I want us to do is I want to start with Kelly Visconti from the Department of Energy. And Kelly, perhaps you can just introduce yourself and share a bit about your role at the DOE.
Great. Just making sure mic's good. Well, thank you so much for having me. It's really a pleasure to honestly be back in the Manufacturing Innovation Institute space. So I currently work in the Office of Manufacturing Energy Supply Chain, so I'll tell you a little bit more about that. But I cut my teeth in the government, working in the formerly known as Advanced Manufacturing Office, and was the program manager for the Institute for Advanced Composites Manufacturing Innovation, as well as RAPID, the Process Intensification Institute, and worked with Sudarsin and many other folks in the audience around CESMII and the other institutes. So it is absolutely a delight to see something that was an idea on a whiteboard about a decade ago turn into this room full of people, this show, and all of the other good work that's happening across the Manufacturing USA Institutes. There's 17 of them now, and I think an 18th about to happen around semiconductors, but it is really truly a fantastic success story, and I am so excited to see the level of enthusiasm, and not that, but the work that is happening across the board. So great to see some familiar faces. I also had the opportunity to work at the Department of Defense, and I see some familiar faces and folks in that arena as well, at a time during the pandemic where we really saw the supply chains become visible. I've seen more people getting degrees in supply chain management than ever before. So this topic is not going away, and the importance of data and that connectivity is essential. So it leads me to where I am today. I work, as I said, in the Office of Manufacturing and Energy Supply Chains, a brand new office that did not exist until a year or two ago. And it reflects the importance of supply chains across the board. So we have about $20 billion in Infrastructure Law, Inflation Reduction Act, and Defense Production Act funding to help manufacturers do a couple things. One, increase capacity to make things here in the United States, either building brand new facilities or retrofitting existing facilities. And the tools and solutions that are represented in this room and in this building are going to be essential to make that transition happen. We're trying to invest in critical areas to help the clean energy transition. So these could be physical products, solar panels, wind turbine components, grid components, et cetera, as well as reduce greenhouse gas emissions in the industrial landscape. The materials that we make that go into nearly everything we use and touch account for a tremendous amount of greenhouse gas emissions, not just in the United States, but globally. We have to do better. We have to be more efficient. We have to do materials transformations differently. It means we need to have the data and the information to be able to do that well. The third thing our office does is make sure, to Diana's point earlier, we have the people to help with this transition. So for example, one of our programs is focused on helping convert manufacturers who are working internal combustion engine components or systems or assembly to make the transition to electric vehicles. We also need to bring the workers and the people along there as well. So how do we make sure we have the right training programs and pieces lined up to help make sure that workforce can be ready for this new assembly and processes? Diana spoke to our smart manufacturing program. I do want to emphasize we have a focus around small and medium-sized manufacturers, and there's a few programs I want to highlight. One of them is our Advanced Energy Manufacturing and Recycling Grants. It's a $750 million total program. It's targeted for small and medium-sized manufacturers only eligible are small and mediums in particular geographies. Our first round of funding went out last year, and we will have a second round coming in 2024. So again, encourage folks to take a look at that. Take a look at your partners, your customers, those you're engaging with, and see if this is an opportunity to help those businesses employ and deploy the solutions that you all are providing in terms of automation, data management, optimization, efficiency improvements, et cetera. For our non-small and medium-sized manufacturers, I just want to highlight our office is helping the IRS implement the 48C investment tax credit. There's no eligibility requirements in terms of size, but the mission is the same. Help companies build or retrofit factories to make those critical clean energy components, as well as reduce greenhouse gas emissions. $4 billion of the $10 billion in that tax credit has been put out, so there's $6 billion that's going to be put out in the future. So I want to just emphasize there are many opportunities from the small and medium-sized manufacturers. We will have a second round of that state manufacturing leadership program coming out next year, $350 million for small and mediums to build and re-equip factories, and then the 48C tax credit, and there are other opportunities as well. So very, very much encourage folks to take a look at our website and the opportunities that are out there. So just to tie back to smart manufacturing and the opportunities here and what this panel represents and what we're doing, the need to have collaboration, have common standards is essential. We cannot have competing ways that we're doing things. It just creates more confusion and conflict in the market, and it's unnecessary. So really applaud all of the work that you're doing here, the international partnerships, the collective partnerships that the institutes represent, and I look forward to continuing to partner with all of you from where I sit now in our manufacturing energy supply chain office. So thank you.
Thank you, Kelly. think it's great to carry the theme of the small to mid-sized enterprise through. As someone who works with a lot of large enterprises, it's always about the ecosystem. So, Mr. House, I have a question for you now. We've seen the manufacturing industry going through a pretty significant transition or digital transformation the past many years. And we heard earlier in your presentation, you are one for global collaboration and data ecosystems. Can you share some of the, and you mentioned Catena-X and some lighthouses, can you share some of the other initiatives and what's going on in Germany that would help us in North America either be motivated or inspired or want to partner with?
Thank you very much. Yes. The core of what we do is we try to see ourselves as a facilitator for industry to walk the way we together think is the future way on their own, because the companies do the job. What the government can provide is support, backbone, and money. And to this, we thought in Germany we need to, and that picks up what Kelly just said, to support in particular those inventive small and medium-sized enterprises, because they have smart ideas but lacking money. And we have funding projects, funding schemes in place that try to alleviate this and to help them to get to the market. That is one thing, and that works domestically in Europe, and we try to support them when they want to go abroad to show what they can do on conventions, congresses, or fairs like this. But the second thing is, on a broader scale, is what I try to point to in my presentation, that in the future, and that is not only the future that starts tomorrow, but that will, in the foreseeable future, for the next decade or so, will be mostly important, is unless you digitalize your business, unless you do a data-based business model, you will be in very, very difficult situations, because the competition is fierce and companies are forced to find the best possible solution. And what the government can do is to support that striving for the best solution and to compete on the market. And that is where Germany and the US are quite similar, because our companies love to see the back of the government officials, but they leave the paycheck on the table so that they can do their business. I think that is something, it's a good shared deal.
I'm never one to leave a paycheck on the table myself, but come to New Hampshire, we have lots of taxes. What I'd like to do is, for the remainder of the panel, are some, well, I'll say rapid fire questions. So for those attendees, for the panelists who the attendees do not know, a quick introduction of yourself and right into your question. And Henning, I'll start with you. Consortia and industry associations, they're not new. What's different this time? What's going to make things sticky? And what will drive that transformative change?
Right, thanks for the question. And yeah, Henning Bantin, my name. I'm Secretary General of the Plattform Industrie 4.0. And Kelly here, it's a little bit similar. You know, roughly 10 years ago, this notion of Industrie 4.0 was invented. And it's really great to sit here in Greenville and we're discussing Industrie 4.0 on a completely different level. And this is thanks to the work of all of you. So this is really great. Now, to your question, sure, consortia, associations, they're out there. It's very good they're out there. They're important partners to us. I just want to re-emphasize what has been said earlier. The way we look at sort of how future economies work, how future business works, this is about data exchange. This is about new forms of collaboration, of networking between companies, between machines, between solutions, and we have to come up with ways actually supporting that. So where do we create resilient systems, innovative solutions? Where do we create value? And this is in networks. So having said that, just a brief view on the strategy of the platform industry 4.0. There are three notions which are important to us. It's autonomy and sovereignty in the solutions we pick. As a company, we are free to choose the solution. We're not bound to specific solutions. The second notion is interoperability. So how do we make sure that actually systems are compatible, can talk to each other? And the third one is more looking at an important future market. It's sustainability. So these three notions are core to our work. And this is also, John, where the collaboration with CESMII comes in, because it gives me the opportunity to just highlight two aspects. Is interoperability, where we have done a lot of work on sharing our thoughts on standardization solutions, on the asset administration cell, on the smart manufacturing profile, on a legal basis, a technical basis, a business basis. So that's interoperability. And looking back at Hannover Fair this year, we could show a demonstrator on carbon footprint reporting, which was jointly run by US companies and German companies on the booth in Hannover, and actually the Minister for Economy visiting the booth and looking at it. So that was a great moment, and this shows how important the collaboration with you guys and with the US in general is. Thank you.
Thank you, Heng. And John, I'm going to have the same question to you.
Yeah, good morning. It's an honor to be here today, and it's an honor to be part of this distinguished panel. My name is John Dyke, the Chief Executive Officer for CESMII, and it's a real honor to represent U.S. manufacturing, smart manufacturing here in this way. It's a privilege to work with a phenomenal ecosystem, a community. We're building a community here to advance the state-of-the-art of smart manufacturing and become more competitive as a nation. And so, yeah, I would say fundamentally, what the fourth industrial revolution has highlighted, among other things, is the dramatic need to change the way we leverage data to transform our operations. And along with that, and perhaps in advance of that, is the transformation of our cultures and how people interact with that data. And so it's been an honor to work with our friends from Germany, to, as Kelly and as Marcus both underscored, ensure that at the very least we do no harm when we advocate for our respective strategies in our countries. But it's been really, really a cool thing to see how US thinking and strategies have aligned with German strategies and thinking, and how we've been able to drive true interoperability and true standardization of these key ideas, capabilities, even the sort of workforce development initiatives behind that, resulting in the kinds of demonstrators, the kinds of capabilities that you see out here today. The sustainability paper that we wrote together with our friends from Germany, the demonstrator that Henning mentioned, the demonstration that you see here in the CESMII booth today, showing a sophisticated look at how scope 1, 2, and 3 carbon reporting can happen in a real-time way using these interoperability-centric capabilities that are available for everyone. And so this is, I think, a great example of how two regions, two great, strong, thoughtful manufacturing regions can work together and ensure that we're doing the right thing. So the manufacturer here in the US, opening plants and doing work, doing business in Germany and other parts of the world, are going to find that alignment and find the capabilities in that marketplace helpful and as an accelerant, as a tailwind, not as a headwind. And so I'm privileged to be here with you all today.
And thank you, John, but I'm going to take a step back so I am not blocking Dominic here for your question. And this is a fun one. Standardization and innovation are, in some cases, a very significant trade-off for many manufacturers, and sometimes diametrically opposed with one another. How do you see this changing, especially when we look at the small to mid-sized enterprises?
Thank you so much for your question.
Do you want to borrow mine?
It works? Okay, great. Thank you very much for this excellent question. Just briefly, Dominic Romas, I'm the CTO of LNI. That's a pre-competitive, non-profit, neutral association in Germany for smart manufacturing, one of the oldest since 2015. And please allow me that I personally state to John and also all the other honored representatives here on stage, we basically work since 2016 jointly on getting that forward. And our ambitions were so well summarized by you, Henning, and previously by Kelly and Marcus. Thanks so much for your statements there. How can we make that such that SMEs have a fair chance to participate? That not only the OEMs that anyway do it, but the entire supply chain. And if it is down to tier 10, 11 or 12, if it's existing. And for that, we thought there needs to be globally harmonized standards, not complicated, well applicable, but in the life cycle, maintained over decades. Manufacturing has life cycles of 20, 30, 40 years for machines, factories, etc. This is not a quick asset that we are used from IT area. And in this way, in this business, it's so important that we have standards. They are not threatening innovation. They are supporting the participation of SMEs in this dramatic transformation, in this dramatic change from classical manufacturing all the way to data-driven, data economy-driven manufacturing. And now we are more than honored, and George, I look at you, you'll state in a couple of seconds afterwards to introduce Manufacturing Act, which is only possible if we have these fundamentals set. And since we have such a long, 5 to 6 years now, trusted relation among US and Germany when it comes to manufacturing and professional industry manufacturing, we can leverage that now and come to serious data economy, which goes beyond pure, I have some data, give it to me, or I even don't want to give it to you, but having rules for trust, for data sovereignty, for the connectivity. How do we do that? And how do we get that harmonized for the benefits of both countries and our ecosystems? It's about global supply chains, and we don't have national supply chains anymore. They are truly global when it comes to manufacturing. We need to honor that and work with that. That's a challenge, but let's face it, do it. And I can ensure, and I would like to finalize my answer by that, we execute on that monthly, and we support each other in the best way how we can operationalize it. Let's jointly with you in the audience go now the next step to serious industrial data economy. We call it Manufacturing X. It's a title, I agree. George will leverage on that now. And yeah, thank you very much for having us here as a German delegation in the US. It's a great honor.
Thank you, Dominic. George, you get a round of applause for the last question. And you and I have had this discussion for many years, and we talked about not laughing at each other and smiling, but I want to get your point of view. I mean, we've heard a lot about federated, decentralized, and collaborative approaches. And these are what I'll say very word-based concepts that make sense for companies that want to move fast with technology. However, not all value chains, not all companies are going to be ready or even see this as an opportunity. What would you say to that?
Well, thank you very much, Simon, for the question, and Dominic for the tee-up. My name is George Cube. I'm with SAP, responsible for Manufacturing X as a program. I'm also part of Industry 4 and the Manufacturing X initiative. So you're right. When new technologies come about, there's always the early adopters. They adopt them no matter what, because it's cool, because it's new. And then the fast followers, pretty much the same reason. But the big group of adopters do not fall in this category. And the question is, why would they adopt something like Manufacturing X? And I have 2 points I want to make about this. First of all, do not overestimate the hurdle to do it. We are talking about federation. We talk about data sovereignty, and this is all complicated and complicated concepts. However, to the user, Manufacturing X will come as a cloud-based solution. It will come something that opens in your browser. It will be a small app provided by the Manufacturing X consortia, or it will come as part of the business applications that you use already. So it is not a big hurdle to get started. That's the first thing. And then the second thing is, don't underestimate the value that it actually creates. Because specifically for small companies, I've been working with companies for the last 10 years on digitalization initiatives, and every company has them. You have business plans tied to them, but usually companies don't get as far as they want to go. Digitalization does not work as well as we would all hoped that it would work. And the reason is data exchange is not working the way it should be working, because people do not trust each other. They do not want to give data away and then not know what's going to happen with it. And Manufacturing X is going to address exactly this. So now, if you can exchange data in a sovereign way, in an easy fashion, suddenly all these digitalization initiatives get unstuck. And I think with these two things, hurdle is low, gain is high, I believe there will be many companies that just will do it because it's good business reason. And if then there's some that are left over, well, maybe then some value chains which have already a good saturation will say, hey guys, if you want to play in our value chain, this is how we do it. We use that technology. Please go ahead and do that as well. Otherwise, you may not be able to participate, but that's the last resort. Thank you.
Thank you very much, George. And also just, this concludes the panel. Everyone's going to stay on stage, I believe, but a round of applause for the panelists.